Back to another episode of the Engine Shed. It's been a while since my last video, and for that I'm very sorry. I'm back now. I've got some great stuff to show you today. Hopefully I'm going to keep these videos nice and short in a series of videos going through over the next couple of weeks and months. Just trying to show you how powerful and how easy to use this ESU ECOS is. So today I'm going to show you how to program points, set it up on a virtual map, which you'll see in a second, and of course set routes. All of it's really easy, all of it's really easy to follow on with. Hopefully I'd like to make sure that that's the case. So before I start, as it was outlined in the last video that I made, this is an ESU ECOS, and it's the latest version of the ESU ECOS. It's not the 5200, and this is the problem, 50,200. It's not 50,200, this is 50,210. The ESU ECOS with the latest version of the firmware, which is 4.1.4, I'm pretty sure. So for those of you who haven't updated the firmware on your ECOS, generally speaking there isn't much in the way of a difference with the interface, but there is some cosmetic changes. When you go to program things like your points and your routes, you'll see some changes, but I'll outline that in a second. So the reason I bought the ECOS a long time ago, after much deliberation and much, you know, much of a headache after paying for it with the money that I had, it's proven to be worth every cent. And because it's a multi-protocol DCC unit, it can pretty much operate with literally anything or any DCC and NRMA compliant piece of hardware, or Matrix or Motorola, whatever the hell it may be, Scalic or Scaltrix or something I think it's called. So you're basically covered. If you've got hardware from different manufacturers, in most cases you're covered. And of course the DCC Concepts stuff is universal, so it works with anything, and I've been taking full advantage of that with the ECOS. Now, one of the cool things about the ECOS is when you program your points, there's an option in the settings, which when you start it up, and the settings is just this little spanner here. Go into your settings, you've got this little menu here, and it gives you a list of all the accessories that you've programmed, so on, so on, so on. You also got the option, and I'm pretty sure it was here somewhere. No. Yeah, so this is the option here. So it's a little spanner and screwdriver thing here on its own. Setup page 2. It goes through and you can set your points to fire at startup. So the ESU will boot up like it does a normal computer would boot up. You'll get your loading screen, and then as soon as the power reaches the track, all the decoders are basically roll called by the ESU. So it will fire them all systematically in a clockwise fashion, or whichever way, from top to bottom, whatever your programming is, it'll just go through and systematically fire them one by one and return them to the state that you had them at the last use. So whether or not you have forgotten or something like that, it's a nice feature to have, particularly if you're using decoders like the ADSF-8X. And one of the problems I had with the ADSF-8X was the fact that the inbuilt frog polarity switch requires you to switch the point back to a default position. So with the ESU ECOS, that eliminates the issue, because it will always return the point back to the default position on startup. So you can utilize the frog polarity switch within the ADSF-8X without any issue, and I have been slowly switching back over after I've been having some issues with the inbuilt accessory switch on the little seat point motors. They tend to get quite dirty and dusty, and the contacts on there become somewhat unreliable. But anyway, that's a nice touch. I'm really happy with that. By mistake I found this and found out that this was happening, and every time I turned it on you could hear the points firing, which is really nice. It's quite satisfying. But anyway, I digress. So we're done in the settings. To program a accessory, whether it be a point, a light, whatever it may be, you want to go into this. So this is your accessories page. When you boot up your ECOS, you usually find yourself on the default throttle page, which is the little highlighter thing up here. So we want to go to the second page here. And you can see I've got a whole heap of accessories already pre-programmed. So for the sake of this video, I'm just going to go to a blank page, page number 15 as an example. So when you program a point decoder or whatever, particularly in my case, what I liked about the ADSF 8X is it's got the read switch. So you can program a point to whatever address you like, just making sure, of course, that you're not using, there's about 3 addresses on the ADSF that you can't use. So long as you're reading the instructions and making sure that you're not overwriting a non-compliant address on your decoder, you should be fine. So what I like to do, especially with the ADSF unit, is I'll go through, I'll set up the point. So you push the little spanner down the bottom just like that, and then you get a whole bunch of options down here. So the first, and of course you get pages. So you've got up to 75 pages of accessories if you so wish. And I'm never going to use that many accessories, but we're on page 1 and we've got 15 panels to use, so I'll probably only use about 7, maybe 8 panels. So that's how powerful this unit is. It's capable of storing 75 pages of up to 16 accessories on each page. So do the math, that's a hell of a lot of accessories. I mean, you could power a club size layout with this one unit. But anyway, back to programming. So if we just go back to page 15. So anyway, you get these little options down the bottom here. First of all, you get the first option, which is to add a single accessory. The second option is to add a root, and we'll talk about that later. Third option is to add a turntable. Now I've got a Helgen turntable on my layout. I'll just quickly show you on camera. No, you can't see it. There it is right there. Now the Helgen turntable, I've been trying to program it with the ECOS. I'm not really having a great deal of luck at the moment, but if I ever get it to work, I'll be sure to do a video on it and show you how to program it within the ECOS. But for the time being, it's not really useful to me. It does have a pre-programmed or a preset for a Markland DCC turntable, so if you have a Markland DCC turntable, it should work without an issue. The next thing we've got here is the grid. So you can select an item from the list and link it to something else, whatever it may be. That's a nice useful tool, but we're not really going to use that today. So let's just add a single accessory, and I'll just add an accessory that I've already programmed, so just for the sake of the video. Now, I hope you can make that out. I'm just going to zoom in. Okay, that looks good to me. So, this is the accessory sort of creation menu. Now the first thing that I like to do when I'm creating an accessory, now you can see up here you've got list and it's a semaphore, whatever it may be. So we're going to create a point. So you can scroll down, you can see all these different icons that are provided to you. You can select the light signal of 4 aspect to 3 aspects, so that's really cool. I'll be playing with that later on when I eventually get some aspects. So we've got our points, and you can select a whole range of points from a double slip to a curve turnout right, double crossover, so on, so on, so on. Function with track, so if there's a piece of track that goes, or if there's a piece of track that has, say some boom gates, whatever it may be, you can actually set that to an isolated piece of track on your little layout diagram within the ECOS. Flick it on and off. Lighting options, track decoupler, street light. The list goes on and on and on. Oh, there you go, boom gate. Engine shed doors, general function. So you've got plenty of options in terms of an accessory. Provided you've got a compatible accessory decoder, there's pretty much nothing you can't program to this particular unit. So for this particular example, I'm just going to go for a turnout, a right-hand turnout. You can see here it shows you the panel symbol. That's relevant in a little bit later on when I'll show you how to put it into the control panel. So it's got protocol, DCC. You can select Motorola, DCC with Railcom, no track signal. None of that really applies. You just want to leave it in DCC. You get 3 lines. So you can call this anything. You've got 3 lines, and for my case, I'm just going to rename it. Get rid of that. we'll just rename it mainline 1. So ML1, keep it simple. Keep in mind too, if you're using a handheld unit like the ESU 5113, if you're using the particular control panels like I'm using, I'll just show you an example of that now. It's never a good idea to have big names on your accessories, because the little handheld here only has space to display particular names. So for that reason, I've used just very small annotations of the points. So ML1, ML2, mainline 1, mainline 2, so on. Whatever works for you, but just keep that in mind. If you are deciding to use the ESU handheld unit, it's always a good idea to just keep it simple and sweet. Now, you've got duration. If you've got a tortoise motor or something like that, that may be relevant to you. Because I'm just using little simple solenoids, 250 milliseconds, you don't need to change it. It's not really an issue. Now, pulse or toggle, just leave it at toggle. I'm not really sure what the whole pulse option is. That would probably be for something like your light function or something to that effect. And then it comes down to the address. Now, with a DCC Comsats ADSF, it doesn't matter. You can program it from address 1 through to, I think it's 1,000 something, 1,000 and something. So you've got plenty of options in that respect. For me, it's just number 101. So I distinguish my points top and bottom. Level 1 is the top level. Level 2 is the bottom level. So I start with the top level, which is level 1. So 1, first level, and it's accessory number 1. So likewise the bottom, it'll be 2, an accessory number following that. So it's just an easy way to remember what your points are. So I'll just set that like that. We've got the address done, we've got that done, beautiful. And there you have it, ML1 is now set. That's how easy it is. Now if we go to our control panel, you can see here I've already gone through and programmed the main line of the control panel. So going through around the station, around the back, around here, so on, so on. It's an absolute mess, my layout at the moment, but we'll get a chance to clean it up at some point. So for the sake of this, I'll just quickly delete that one. So when you go through in your control panel, same thing again, you select little spanner down the bottom right hand corner, and of course you've got information and various other things. We'll discuss that in later videos, but if you want to add an accessory that you've just created like the one we just have, you just push this little button right here. You select the space that you want to put it, so I just want to put it there, and it'll give you the list. Okay, it'll tell you where exactly in that whole list it is, and you can see here I've already got ML1 created in tab 1, and this one's in tab 15. Exactly the same accessory, it's just in a different tab. So I'll select the original, and there you have it, it's done. Once you're finished, you just deselect the little spanner down the bottom right hand corner, and now when I touch it, you can hear it firing in the background. That's how easy it is to do. That's how simple it is to program a point and add it into a control panel in the ESU. Of course, you have to take the time to detail what and however you want to orient it, but just making sure you have the time and the patience to do that, you should be fine. And likewise, you can set up shortcuts in the panel to jump to different areas. So I've got this set up. That's the fiddle guard underneath on the second layer, so that's the first side, and I've still got to program the right hand side of that fiddle guard, but likewise you've got the menu down here. So I've got the TMD, I've still got to go through and program the TMD, but these little shortcuts are just easy ways to jump back and forth from panels without going through the select menu all the time. So that's a nice touch. So anyway guys, hopefully that helped you out. In the next video, I'll do a quick 5-10 minute video again discussing how to program routes. So until the next time, please like, subscribe, comment if you have any questions. I'll hopefully get the chance to answer them when I can. But yeah, until the next time, I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you later.